Hello,
Hello.
hello, Naoto. Long time no see.
Yeah, it feels some some seconds.
It feels like just few seconds. I feel like I was stuck with you for a second. Um, yeah, I think I it's time like how to police. Um,
Hmm?
I was thinking that I was talking also with some people like coming from this from else and otherwise meeting in Path
Yeah.
that and reflecting also in other practices that I found interesting these days. It's like that what we need and we don't have basically because of the system we live is time. Like everybody needs time. Like how to allocate proper time to each other. Then if you said in a meeting that if we meet like I'm already we have this space that is very trusted. So
Yeah.
how to say like okay, let's meet, and if you have to talk, then just you don't have to measure how much time you're taking from me, because it's more like uh, yeah, I have been reflecting on this, like that everybody needs to be heard, um for one, not to feel that you are taking time, that I don't want to feel that I'm just wasting your time. So then
Hmm.
otherwise I will have to start going in my head like selecting words and being effective in my talking, especially in these frameworks like that we are very um, privileged to have, where we can work, but also within our work, because it's an artistic reflection, we can reflect on production. So how to do from these frameworks, how to allocate proper time with each other. What is the threshold when you need to say like, okay, you know what? We have to work, like, but at the same time, I want to listen. Because in this work, I mean, the work that we do, is the art and life is very blended, blah blah.
Yeah.
That so how I mean, one of the strategies that I have been thinking is in if in my process I need to go through some personal things to put out within a conversation, it's okay as long as know in which perspective. Said if we are working in Modina's project and we are working in some idea, if I feel at some point that I need to put out some of my personal uh, life experience, including trauma and so on, it's fine as long as within that framework of work. You see what
Okay.
I mean?
Okay. I think, but can you just go on and then
Yeah, like so then if we are working in one idea, I don't know, around with the actors and how to involve new people through artificial intelligence copilot, that we are very knowledgeable about it. Uh, then and then we are in this like brainstorming and or like even composing, then uh maybe I need to at some point like just to start bringing something from deep inside from my traumas,
right?
uh and it's completely valid. I mean, I would like to feel in a scenario that I can take as much time I need to unpack this, because it's something that it comes down from, so I have to grab it down from all these layers. I need to unpack it.
Mm.
And so this unpacking means a personal work for me. Also, it means personal work for you because you have to really listen there.
Yeah.
But it is in relation. I'm trying to put it because I think it's something that we can use in work.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
it
the
also
point.
depends on your position, right? Because we're like both starting from the concept and directing, and I mean, we have different roles, but we have the say. But if, for example, I'm I'm just doing the programming, then that might
But
not be relevant. I mean, it is relevant for myself, but if for example you hire me to make the AI whatever,
yeah.
then is it valid? Like valid is not the right word, but I would hold it, hold it back if to share something that I don't know. I have something to say about AI, politics, whatever, or like something related to myself, and then because my mother, she was not killed, she's alive, but she, my I don't know, was killed by AI, co-pilot or something like that, and then like
You can go there. It's 30 years in the future, 50 years, like you have a traumatic experience with some accident happened because of an AI decision.
yeah.
Um,
But then like what's the I mean for this work, it's clear that we're both working I mean, we try to be, at the same level, although sometimes it changes, but that's the assumption. But then if you're just hired to do some specific role, then it's but that maybe that's not like your artistic contribution. I don't know.
no, but this is interesting because like this is, I mean, we were talking with somebody else like on that specifically. Said like the easiest case scenario is like in the place that we are right now because we have no hierarchy and we both are contributing from both sides. So that's kind of like it's a queer space, it's a gentle space, there is trust. So basically in a way is there is maybe, I think in our case, like it's kind of this intrinsic trust that I guess what I mentioned, like the fact that I think could be a good exercise that to do more often is like to just confirm each other, basically,
Yeah,
like you are fine, you are good, don't need to worry, like just which I mean we have this trust, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
this is something that we don't said, but I think it is something that can be said also, and it's just putting positive thing into it, just basically confirms agency for the other one to unpack.
yeah,
So this is like the best case scenario, in a way.
yeah.
Then if you go to the other extreme, you are hired to deploy something, right? And so it's very extreme because you don't have all these layers in between. But maybe there is what I think what might be interesting in our roles as technicians and artists on the other side. And that said, also I think that responsibility, I would say more than the response, is more about the response. So it's not about responsibility, but somebody else was using this word of the response or then the I mean the fact that as a if I'm hire you to deploy something, I will be your boss. So I am the one who is understanding the framework. Um, if I will try to enter in that dialogue, there is more basically trying to listen to you in relation to work that is very specific, and also maybe bringing something from me in relation to work with these two hierarchies. um it's me the one who understands abstractions because you are just hired for some specific thing. So in that sense you can say that I'm more responsible to guide in a gentle way the conversation while being pragmatic also.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
But then like I found it's interesting that I mean, we're going to work with dancers, and that's like similar case that they will be hired for the project, but then if they need to share personal stories, experience related to this work, then that's valid, no? For the
Yeah.
dancers because they are their body is present. But then if it's a programmer, then doesn't really matter. I mean, like that's I mean just saying like it's not like I'm confirming that, but like people might think that way. For the dancer, it's relevant because their body is there, but for the programmer,
But this is interesting what you're mentioning because that's so if you go like in because these are abstractions that I propose, no? So say like the best case is kind of like there is not abstraction, it's like you and me, things are there from time to time, you can just confirm each other. There's a lot of kindness in this work. So, but then if you go a bit, just one level up, we artists work with dancers, right? So then still so then we are the hierarchy, then direction, and then the dancers, but it still is within humanities, right? So then the experience of the dancers matter very much. Then if you go one level more of abstraction or a lot more, then you have like the technician who is deploying something. So there is more abstract, right? Until you get there. But it's still what I'm trying to say with this is more like, I guess, an intention, like, or start thinking towards that, or ecologies of work. It should be also possible. I mean, there should be things to say that they are relevant from one side and to the other one to make more effective at the end the work.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, but then it's just, of course, the levels of abstraction is like, so maybe not everything has to be said, but there's some things that might be relevant. You know, the fact that maybe you have the time to have a coffee and then just unpack something, it might definitely affect the work directly if it's in some specific topic, but for sure indirectly. Just like the fact that you feel as the as technician, like people take care of you, somebody's asking you, hey Naoto, how are you? It's just basically it comes down to this idea of be kind to each other. That it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be necessary in, I mean, it's, yeah, it's about being kind, like, to each other. That the system that we are in, because it's based on money equals time, time equals money, is not really allowing this, is very difficult if we don't start thinking how the capitalism, uh, how the system adapt very small, very in a very evil way, how like this the system adapt itself within any framework, say also frameworks of care. If we don't unpack these things and don't understand where is the negotiation, where is this evilness somehow happening, what is the friction, what is the because could be, I mean, it's pain somehow, and it might be big layers of pain or uh, small layers of pain, but at the end there is some uncomfort. It's
Hmm.
something that at the end, so it is like a human discussion, but at the end it will affect the work. So it's not only that it's about talking about humanity, it is in relation to work.
Yes. I mean, no, I totally agree. But then like in real world, it doesn't happen that way. And I was just wondering why. I mean, it could be, about money, maybe it's just easier for you to not to share and just get the money, do your job. But also,
I think about time, no? But I mean,
hmm?
because the
I mean,
money is the
time and
consequence of
money.
time.
Yeah. I mean, well, but then, I don't want to use the word labor, but it's also, putting it out there is also, it's a labor work that you share about yourself with someone. You might not, we know each other, but you might work with someone who you don't know well or personally, and then that's a lot of work from you to just to share, and then it might make sense not
But
to
that's,
share.
but that's the thing. Like, it's not that, I mean, but this is the, I think it's the things with path, for instance. Like, and I start like, so there are two things I think I want to say, like, because I'm not binary. Always I go to these two things. Um, like this sharing, about, speaking of sharing, I start thinking, and I'll try to not go too deep into this. I start like realizing there is highly a privileged space for North European culture. Like the more you go into the north, like is when societies are more emancipated also, like this something that happens often in PAF, then is people who can like speak very much about sharing or understanding, like, respecting very much each other's space, like, and in that sense being effective, but also within this care. So I start seeing this, like that was perhaps the problem or something that I felt from the beginning in PUF when Jan received me, and then we have exchange, and then I understood it was about sharing, but there is somehow there is not necessarily an idea of we. In PUF we don't often we speak there is no we. So we share the space, but basically it's very much about respecting each other's boundaries. Um, so I think I'm trying to share two ideas. So one is this idea that I don't know exactly from where it goes, this critique that I'm trying to express with you, but it's something that I start putting myself because I'm part of these discussions. So I'm actually, we are talking of share care and all these things that I'm sharing with you. And I'm like, yes, yes. And at some point I'm like, wait, give me a second. This is very Nordic for me. This is not how things actually work for everybody. This comes from a privileged space that you can give to yourself right
Yeah.
now. Your society works like this. But if you come to other places, like in Colombia, for instance, you cannot speak like that about sharing. That's because the day to day is very different.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's one critique that I don't know where to put, is just to start expressing. This is in my things nowadays, especially when I
Mm.
was off for some days. I'm like, yes, but wait, give me some time. I need to be kind of like,
No, but that's exactly like what I wanted to mention because, like this idea of, for example, just putting out what you think is already it's possible because it's safe space that you create within work or within, friendship or whatever. But if it's not, if you don't feel it's safe, or if, you know that someone will take something from you, then you have to protect yourself. And then it's different, right? You have to like, calculate like how much you want to share, and how much you want to keep it yourself so that no one's gonna exploit you.
wow. You touched something that, I didn't thought on that, but the fact that that I start having some kind of, and this is just recently, I'm telling you, like just in this summer, like with people that I care and that I agree with them, and we are part of like a family somehow, that I start seeing like, wait, give me some time because I don't know, there is something I cannot, it's just I feel there is something. And could be this what you're, this, I appreciate that you said this because it might be something in relation to what is that you, then in somehow I will feel within this tokenization, or especially when in place like that, I'm the only one very often who is non-white, very often.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. But so like this is what I was trying to, like, let's kind of wrap up. There's about two things that I was trying to say. This is one thing that is highly complicated, but it's something that is a constant that I start seeing right now. And then it's in relation also to what I share about the allies and stuff like that.
Mm.
But let's just not
Yeah.
go into that. It's going in that direction that slowly is getting somewhere. And then the other point then is, um, so you have this sharing that it comes from privilege, somehow, but then how much then going bringing that back to work when you don't know somebody and you need to work, like it's not necessary that you need to go, or maybe I don't know, like I guess it's more like an open thing. The space is I don't know, man. This is like there is the need of time. That's what I think, that's in short, that there is the need of time to allocate time to each other, and then regardless of how much you know each other, then basically just in a human, more I guess intuitive way, by tuning, you just know each other, and maybe, and you just talk a little bit, but you don't have to speak of in-depth stuff, but nevertheless it's a matter of giving time to feel acknowledged. um and I think that's when you have hierarchies. I think so again, like when you are in a flat structures, it's easy because you start from a caring space. But when you have hierarchies, I'm hiring you to develop something. As I mentioned before, I'm the one who's coming with the acknowledgement of the work, so I know the abstractions, why I need your work. So it's more of my work on basically, uh, in a way, navigating this time. This could be one way of seeing this, but the other one could be also, for instance, like what I'm saying is that everybody needs to be heard. So in relation to work, so I know, like from that perspective, that for you as human working in something technical, for me it will be good for them, for our work environment, if you can be yourself as much as possible. Therefore, in relation to work, I will try to allocate that time for you within the work. But then what happens with the other way around? You know, like, what about, like, what do I need you to hear about me, being me the boss, in relation to the work?
Okay.
I think because that becomes more complicated, because in I don't
Mm,
know if I my if I express my problem is, I see somehow that as the boss, in somehow there is kind of like this linearity of this um causality that goes from one thing to the other thing. But the other way, like, I don't know then what to think. Like, so why, if I'm saying my hypothesis, like, is everybody needs to be heard in relation to work, what is that you need to hear about me being your boss? That's
right.
what it was. And that's what and in this framework is when I understand when your comments, like, because it's very like, what, yeah, exactly, what is that you need to know about me as boss?
Well, I mean, depends on the nature of the work, but um, I don't know. Like for example, if you're a choreographer and if it's a performance about you, then it's quite clear that we will have some kind of confrontation because it's about you, and you're just putting out there about your experience or stories. So we need to share that. We need to be on the same page, right?
Right.
But then if it's not about, well, it's about you, but it's, I don't know, if you're making an installation that, I don't know, I can't really come up with a good idea.
But
For
this is
example, if you're working for C's and like you're doing, that kind of project and you are directing the project, okay, something about art and science, for example, then it's not completely about yourself, right? It's about, I don't know, something about ecology, for example. Then as someone who's hired, what I want to hear from you. I mean, that I'm just like just
it's
reiterating your question.
it seems to me that it becomes more complicated, no? Like, because in one hand is like, it's trying to be more specific, because as you are the one who is hired to do some work, so it's a very situated need, or let's say like knowledge, required knowledge. But then when the work, as you said, is not about, say, me, so maybe that information might not be relevant. Nevertheless, if it's about also just
Mm,
to generating a collective understanding that promotes a better work conditions, what are the things that as worker you need to know about me? And I think still then it has to come from your individuality, because
yeah.
every person as worker will have different needs. For some reason, perhaps you have a trauma with a guy that looks like me, like, or the cultural divisions. So maybe there is something
Mm,
right there somehow to unpack. But this is really, really what I'm trying to say is a very complicated topic when it becomes like that specific, because it really goes into trauma places. Like it becomes really into things that to unpack. But then is the matter, that's what I was bringing into the conversation. The whole thing is a matter of time. We don't have time
Mm,
because we don't have the money. How to unpack this, how to deal with the unpacking from both sides.
mm. Yeah, but then I feel it's like, we're just because this notion of, time and basically now you're talking about efficiency, but this is not something
Yeah,
can't be efficient.
I think it's vis-a-vis, but I think it's somehow I'm right now I'm coupling with efficiency because I think it's an easy way to evolve with the conversation, but it's way more complicated than that. That it just helps,
Yeah,
like
but
just
in the end, like, it goes to this, capitalist idea because like, you have to deliver something, right? As a project. That's the assumption. That sets the deadline, and then we have to allocate time somehow. So then you have to, compare time for development or creation or and also sharing each other's stories. But then this whole frame is based on the notion that you have to deliver something in the end.
yeah, which I think is a good. I think you're right. Like if we make like if I make a jump into some other specific cases, I think like festivals, with festivals, like in festivals, no matter what the festival is trying to do to allocate time for the participants to share is never time enough. Like you feel that you're running from place to place. There is always there you always feel there is not enough time for this juicy time that we are speaking here about. There's
Right.
always the lack of that, and no matter how the festival goes. So because the festival has an agenda. So perhaps it's not there is like it's not a way to do it, but nevertheless could be more like the awareness of aiming for that is just an insistence on trying to allocate time, which might be never be enough because of the problem of the capitalist system, how we live, the
Yeah.
like time equals money.
Yeah.
So it might never be enough until the system is not changing. So then without going into the discussion how to change the system, although I think this is how partially you can change the system. So without going there, then insisting then in the like the intentionality, just the gesture, because that will bring good stuff into the framework. Like, yeah,
Yeah. Or you just have to, play with the system. Like good example is like what we have been doing because, this project started like, that we don't have a performance in the end, although we're going to do it. And that's why we have, infinite amount of time basically. And that works out well.
yeah,
But of course, sometimes we have to change it so that we deliver something so that we have
okay.
more uh visibility and money.
Right. But at the
But
end is like it's going into the ecology of a larger group. No, it's not because of us.
yeah, but also, we can still frame it so that, I mean, of course, sometimes we have to have deadlines, but, you know, because this, for example, this residency is happening, but it's not like, this is the residency, but it's part of this ongoing project. I mean, that's how I see it. And that's kind of like somehow makes the situation a bit less tense. Because if you're just like aiming for this residency and deliver something in the end, something has to be good, then that's a lot of pressure, and we have to hold a lot about our emotions, perhaps, and it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, but this is something that I was thinking, like now that you mentioned that this like Molina will be some kind of like as node. I don't know, like in node we were like aiming to do something good, and in this one we will have to take decisions or not, or how to work around. So at the end we will know if we fail, and what does that mean that failing,
Yeah,
comparing with node that we know it failed, but after 10 minutes we said like, wait, give them a second. Actually, the failing was the starting point of the collaboration from there.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Then like we have to go through like, when we start design process about failing. I don't know.
Well, maybe we can just close it like this. I think
Yeah.
this was a bit like, yeah, going. Yes, I like it. Okay,
No,
we
but I
can.
think it's a good start of the new chapter.
Yes, I think we can go more
Teasing.
into dramatic spaces slowly.
Oh
Bring
yeah,
more, bring more
bring more
novella.
dramas.
Bring
Oh
more
my gosh.
novella into it. There is so much novella going on right now. So yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I sent you, but I'm gonna be presenting in this dance conference, education, like pedagogy conference in Cologne, and there will be some friends presenting also. Like Lily will be there, I think. I think
Yeah, yeah,
she's presenting the work she's been doing around this take care residency follow-up meeting, like the monthly meeting thing. I'm curious. And also Florian is doing something. I mean, of course, from Motion Bank.
what will he present? I'm curious.
I don't know, but I think the program is not officially out yet. So I'm not supposed to say that.
When is that?
I think it's end of October.
Okay, so yeah,
So you
so
can
after.
actually visit, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, if it works out. But
yeah,
just saying, just to bring some more characters to our um, telenovela.
yeah.
No, it doesn't have to be a drama.
It can be drama also. Like because I think
Yeah.
yeah, it should be drama. I want some drama.
Yes. So if Lily can be watching this, so if you want to take part in the in the drama,
We can become
let us know.
the new, like this program, Dr. Phil in the States, that is like is based on health things for people in their
Okay.
life, but often is of course is situated within dramas. Like this person, like nobody took care, and then now it's 300 kilos, and
Hmm.
then and so it is in relation to work. That's what I found interesting. That's what I try to bring this. The idea of the drama here is like it is in relation to work. So it is within this idea of ecologies of labor.
I see. But we already have a dance doctor.
Yeah, yes, of course. Yeah, we have Dr. Kafai.
Okay, then
Right.
oh yeah, I have to say like thank you for watching.
Yes. Please subscribe,
Subscribe.
like it, and save your dramas for later.
Yes. And let us know if you want to be part of the drama.
Yes. More drama, upcoming drama. Ciao.
Yes. Ciao.